It's felt great for me, I have to be honest. Like, there were a lot of opportunities that I think would not have been afforded to me had I not worked in digital media. In 2020, there was that shift and things sort of broke open, like the industry broke open, and it let a lot of us in. It let a lot of people who had been historically excluded from these leadership positions in. And so it's a bit of that luck, of course, but it's a bit of that opportunity and preparation all sort of dovetailing together right now.
Nikki, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I am super excited to have you.
I'm thrilled. I'm like so excited for this conversation.
For sure. There's so many things. We were already having such a good conversation before we started rolling that I want to come back to. We were talking about media, journalism, giving ourselves different titles and feeling like we need to earn things versus kind of embracing the things we're already doing. But I want to step back a little bit so that our audience can get to know you better. And so the first question that I've been asking everybody that I've loved, particularly since the rebrand of the show to She's So Lucky, is to share with us a moment where you felt really lucky. And this could be a moment where you've created your own luck, or maybe a moment where something felt serendipitous and you were really grateful for it.
What a great question. I've felt lucky many times throughout my career, I would say, but I do feel particularly lucky to be leading Marie Claire at this time. Marie Claire is a brand that believes in, that caters to women who care about power and purpose and style. And I think that being a Black woman and running the magazine and the brand during this time specifically feels very lucky to me. It dovetails with all the things that I care about. So fashion, style, but also money, politics, identity, all of those things. And so, yeah, I've felt very lucky over the last 2 years.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. I think for so many of us millennials who grew up on things like, The Devil Wears Prada or seeing like Lauren Conrad work at Teen Vogue in the Hills.
Should have gone to Paris.
Yeah, to this day, she should have, 20 years later, she
should have gone to Paris.
But seeing you in this role, it is in a lot of ways kind of like this millennial dream come true. I think for so many of us millennial women, at some point we dreamed of, being the head of a major magazine in that way. Did you also share that dream at that time, or was it a path that
I didn't? I have to be honest with you. I did not. It's not that I didn't think that this would be available to me, but I just know of so many women who came before me in this industry who did not get this opportunity. And so it really does feel like in 2020, there was that shift and things sort of broke open, like the industry broke open, and it let a lot of us in. It let a lot of people who had been historically excluded from these leadership positions in. And so it's a bit of that luck, of course, but it's a bit of that opportunity and preparation all sort of dovetailing together right now. And so, yeah, I didn't really think it was going to be a job that I wanted to do or something that was available to me. I particularly remember when I was an assistant at InStyle being like, I don't want to be an editor-in-chief. That's too much work, too hard. But, you grow in your career, and at some point you're just sort of like, I could do that.
Was there a moment when that flipped for you, or was it more gradual?
It was more gradual. But I would say, I had the pleasure of working with Samira Nasser, who's the editor-in-chief now at Harper's Bazaar, and I worked with an incredible team there. And I would say there, I was like, okay, I can wrap my head around doing this job. And then I also think when Nina Garcia became editor-in-chief of Elle, I was there, and it was one of those moments where I was like, okay, really incredible, diverse fashion people are also getting to helm these publications. And so maybe there is space for me after all.
Were there any moments you had as you were leading up to taking this role at Marie Claire, which you've has said is your lucky moment, when you were like, this luck is working? Like, was there a moment where you were like, yes, it's me?
Oh, it's me. That's an interesting
felt very,
question.
very wicked.
I know. It felt, if I had the pipes, I'd do it. My luck is working. I don't think that there was a particular moment. I think I've just sort of, for the most part, kept my head down, done the work. I had the YouTube series that I did for a little bit. I wrote a bunch of stories when I was at Elle. I went for, when I became the digital director at Harper's Bazaar, it was a bit more of a like behind the scenes position to an extent. And so I think all of those tiny moments, especially, and then also when I worked at GQ for a year and a half, I like to say I took a sabbatical and did menswear for a little bit. That all felt like different strokes of luck that came together to be able to really bolster me and prepare me for this position now.
I love that. I want to talk more about media as a whole. We were chatting a little bit more about that before we started rolling. Because for the last several years, media has felt like it's been in such an odd space. In a lot of ways, it has grown in the sense that almost everybody is a participant in terms of the stories that are told, versus I think in the past there was more of a clear delineation between who the storyteller was and who the audience is. And now kind of everybody's a storyteller and everybody is in the audience kind of simultaneously. Traditional media has had a lot of struggles over the last, decade plus.
Totally.
Social media has exploded. So as somebody who has been working in media through all of this, how has that felt for you as the space continues to evolve and change?
It's felt great for me, I have to be honest. Like there were a lot of opportunities that I think would not have been afforded to me had I not worked in digital media, had I not decided that pretty early on in my career, you know what, I'm not going to be a print editor anymore. I'm going to go work on websites exclusively. That was something new. That was something new for me. That websites in their current iteration barely existed when I graduated from college. So like I didn't even know that was really going to be an opportunity for me. And so being able to, be a little flexible, be a little nimble, take that opportunity as it was presented to me and sort of run with it has really served me in my career. Social media has continued to serve me in my career. I think it helps, and it's a part of the reason I was probably hired for this position at Marie Claire. And I just think that like it's in everyone's best interest to embrace these changes. Like you have to swim with the tide. Like you can't swim against it.
As summer winds down, I'm all about refreshing my wardrobe with staple pieces for the season ahead. Quince nails it with luxe essentials that feel effortless and look polished and are perfect for layering and mixing. Their styles are so versatile, I find myself reaching for them again and again. Recently, I picked up one of their washable silk tops and a pair of classic cotton trousers. And listen, these pieces feel designer. The quality is unreal, the fit is great, and they're actually comfortable. The fact that they're a fraction of the price compared to other brands is even better. Think chic cashmere and cotton sweaters starting at just $40, washable silk tops, and classic denim pants. Timeless styles you'll keep coming back to. The best part, everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And they only partner with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. It's the kind of shopping that feels good and looks good. Elevate your fall wardrobe essentials with Quince. Go to quince.com/balanceless for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/balanceless to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/balancedless. Let me just say, Simply Pop is exactly what I didn't know I needed. I've been on a lookout for a drink that's fun, fruity, and just feels good to sip on this summer, and Simply Pop is that and more. This is a prebiotic soda, not to be confused with probiotic, that's made with real fruit juice and comes in 5 amazing flavors: pineapple, mango, lime, strawberry, citrus punch, and fruit punch. Now, personally, I'm a citrus punch girl right now because it's bright, it's juicy, and seriously tastes like summer. It's got that soda fizz without feeling too heavy or overly sweet. And here's what makes it a staple for me. There is no added sugar. It's sweetened with juice and monk fruit extract. So it tastes amazing, but you don't get that sugary crash after. Plus, it has 6 grams grams of prebiotic fiber to support gut health, and a bonus of zinc and vitamin C for immune support. I mean, talk about a drink that has benefits. So whether I'm headed to a shoot, winding down after a workout, or just craving something fun and fizzy in the afternoon, Simply Pop is that go-to. It's fun, it's a little nostalgic, and honestly, it gives flavor that pop. So if you want to try it for yourself, find Simply Pop and any of its 5 juicy flavors by visiting cokeurl.com/simplypop. That's cokeurl.com/simplypop. I feel that way very often when I talk to other creators who may be frustrated if there's a new platform that emerges, or if there's a, algorithm change, or if there is a new format that takes off. Even, kind of dating myself a little bit for how long I've been creating content. I've thought about all the different iterations of Instagram and about how back in the day it used to be photos only, and then they introduced 15-second videos.
Yeah.
And then like a minute videos,
Yeah.
and then stories, and then reels, and all of these different things. And every time there's been a change, I think there has been a collective like, something else to master. And I think,
but do you have to master it?
Right.
That's my thing. Like,
exactly.
I'm not on TikTok. I have a TikTok. I've posted some videos to TikTok, but I very quickly was like, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This feels like way too much work. Like this, I look at the creators who are on TikTok, and it's just like the way my day job or whatever is set up, I don't have time to be posting to TikTok all the time. And so it's not, for me, it wasn't about like mastering it. It was more about understanding it and saying, I don't really want to do that. I want to double down on this because this feels like it's better for me. So like, I don't want to blow up my TikTok, but I really want to get great at podcasting and making Nice Talk a thing, because that's another outlet for me that feels great and like it aligns with what I actually want to do.
Oh, completely. And I think something really important about what you just said is also finding the right medium for the story, because not every story fits every medium.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay, right? Like nobody is looking at, like, I think it's actually particularly interesting when you look at somebody like Alex Earl. It's very funny. I keep bringing her up for some reason in every talk that I go to, that I have. But Alex had a podcast, and now she doesn't have a podcast anymore. And I think that could be fine. Like, I think she's quite good at TikTok, or she's quite good at social media, and maybe she stays there, and that's okay.
Absolutely. And I'm also dating myself as a creator. I do remember back in the days of earlier content creation, everybody would kind of have a lane. It was like you were a YouTuber or a blogger or or a podcaster or whatever. It was like you had your main thing, and that was the lane. And then over time, everybody kind of started doing everything, or felt this pressure to be everywhere of, if you blow up on TikTok, of course you need a podcast, and of course you need a YouTube channel, but not necessarily. You don't really have to do any of it.
No, you don't have to do any of it. I just think that whatever you're going to do, like, be good at it, right? Because everyone can see if you have like a product line that it's like half-assed, or if everyone can see if you have a podcast and you're not that great at it, that it's like torture for you to do it, right? So whatever medium or wherever you want to place yourself, just be good at it. Like, have some passion for it, and then that will shine through.
Yeah, yeah. How would that also apply to new things, right? Maybe if somebody's trying something new and they're trying to get good at it, what has your experience been in becoming better at something?
Oh, that's so funny. Anyone I tell that I am a runner, that I've run, almost 10 half marathons at this point, everyone's like, well, I really want to be a runner. And I'm like, what? Running's not for everyone. Like, it takes a certain kind of like constitution to want to be a runner, to be a runner. And I think that oftentimes people think that they have to do the thing. Again, it sort of goes back to what we were saying. Like, they think they have to do the thing. If you don't like running, find something else that sort of fills your cup in a similar way. Find something that you can be passionate about in a similar way. But just because I'm a runner doesn't mean that you have to be a runner.
Yeah, exactly. And expanding those definitions of what that means.
Sure, of course. Because like, I call myself a runner. I run, a 10, 30-minute mile. For some people, that's really fast. For some people, that's really slow. That doesn't make me not a runner. Like, I think that people are often very quick to either shy away from giving themselves monikers or giving themselves titles. I'm a runner, I'm a writer, because they feel like they haven't done it either through the traditional route or because they haven't gone through these sort of like channels that deem you as such. But like I'm the editor-in-chief of Marie Claire, and I didn't study journalism. I studied sociology and media studies. I don't have my master's in journalism. I didn't go to Columbia. I didn't go to NYU, but like I have the top position.
Boom. Period.
And that's just sort of how it is, right?
Yeah.
Like no one told me, no one said to me ever, like, and I didn't tell myself, like, I can't be an editor-in-chief because I haven't checked all of these boxes. And I really implore other people to not feel that way. I also think that like living in New York, like everyone's a creative director. Everyone is an editor-in-chief. Like people here give themselves those monikers all the time and they're just fine.
It's true.
Who's stopping them?
Yeah.
You know?
Why do you think we have a hard time giving ourselves those monikers or embracing some of the things that we do?
That's an interesting question. Why do we have trouble doing that? I don't know. I think people are afraid of failure. And so they're probably like, oh, I didn't live up to what that means, maybe. I'd ask you that question as well. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm curious what you think.
I think a lot of it has to do with validation. Like
From
maybe,
others?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we may have an inkling that we want to be this thing. I want to be a runner. I want to be a, whatever it is. And we feel more validated if other people affirm that versus if,
And like let you in and say, okay, join the club. Like you can be a part of this now.
yeah.
Yeah, that feels like human nature, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we've talked a little bit about your running journey, but I'd actually love to go to the beginning of what brought you to running and how running has impacted you.
Yeah. So I've been a runner for about 10 years now. I really wanted to, when I started running, I really wanted to achieve a goal that had nothing to do with work. Like New York is such a hustle culture. Everyone here is so hardworking. Your identity can often be wrapped up in your work. And so I really wanted I wanted to achieve a goal before I turned 30 that had nothing to do with work. And for me, that was running a half marathon. And I find that I consistently return to running. I consistently return to racing, even though it's like not fast racing for some, or I don't know. I don't even know why I caveated that. I just, like that's the thing that people do. Like you immediately are like, I'm not a fast runner, but it's like, no, you've run almost 10 half marathons. Like be quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I started running, because I just wanted something that didn't have to do with work. And achieving this goal before I turned 30 was also a weird, random sort of thing that I wanted to do. When you're about to turn 30, you're like, I got to do something that feels special. And so that was running for me. And I returned to it consistently, I think, because of the lessons that I learned throughout that process and throughout training for races that I can implement in life and career and, relationships across the board.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that last piece because I just feel like that is one of the biggest benefits of movement,
100%.
regardless of whatever version people love to do, whether it's dancing, running, whatever, is it outside of the obvious physical benefits, what it does for your mind and how it helps you be able to stand up to challenges and believe in yourself and try new things. It's like moving your body teaches you all of those things.
Yeah, I was having a rough time at work recently, and I was talking to my boss about it, and she was like, you know what? One of the reasons why I hired you is because you run races, and so I knew that you had the stamina for this. And I was like, huh, okay. All right, great. Like, okay, I can get back. It's just like, this is just like a stretch of a long marathon where you're just like, oh, these next 3 miles are going to suck. But like, I'm close to the finish line or I'm close to like my next gel. And like, that's going to, perk me up again and get me ready to tackle this next stretch. And yeah, so running has always, and movement in general, I think has always really served me in that way.
That is like the best promo for running. If anybody's on the fence about it.
I love it. I love it. I do. And it's like, I don't run all the time and I don't run, 10 miles at a time or whatever. It's usually like a couple miles, but it's just enough time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just enough time to get outside, clear my head, and just sort of like return to self.
Which is so, so important.
Yeah.
I also think there's something to being in New York and running. There's just such a running culture here that I think it's because we live in such a densely populated place that has so much stimuli, like people looking to build community is a big part of it,
100%.
but also return to self when we're surrounded by so much stimulation.
Yeah.
Why people run so much here.
I think so. And I think that to your point, it really has become like I've seen actually the ebbs and flows of like the running community in New York. I think that running is definitely having a moment again. A couple years ago, it wasn't. It was definitely like, workout classes, Rumble or Orange Theory or Peloton or whatever. But we are returning back to running as sport, running as a, mental health tool, those sorts of things. And that's really exciting for me to see.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And it's such a great community building tool. I think post-pandemic has been a lot of it too, where it's like people just want to gather and be around other people.
Go outside, leave your house.
Touch grass.
Touch grass. Like I feel like such an old curmudgeon when I talk about this, but I'm really like, guys, leave your house, get off your phone. It's good for you, I promise.
I'm constantly having to remind myself of that too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so easy to get stuck.
It is. It is, especially just in the day to day when it can feel like you're in such a grind and you're just trying to get to the next day. Anything that can interrupt that pattern is so important.
Yeah.
So earlier you mentioned your podcast, and I'm very excited to talk about it because I love podcasting. I also think that you have a great podcast where you're interviewing amazing women, having phenomenal conversations. And something that I really appreciate about what you're doing with your podcast is kind of busting the myth of effortlessness. Can we talk more about that?
I love trying. I love people who try hard, try more. Trying is cool. Effortlessness, I think, really had such a moment, right? Everyone wanted to be. You wanted model off-duty style. You wanted like effortless waves or effortless curls, no makeup. But it feels like such a scam sometimes where like what's effortless for that person is probably genetics, honestly. And that's not fair to put yourself up against. Like you're setting yourself up for failure in that way. And so I think that when I think about the podcast and when I think about the conversations that we're having, everyone that I've had on the podcast, the people I want to continue to have on the podcast, they all try and they believe in that and they work hard. Their work ethic is incredible. They obviously take breaks and believe in, like taking time off and that sort of thing, but like trying is okay and they want to be good at what they're doing.
So if you're familiar with this show, you know that we're all about tuning into ourselves mentally, emotionally, energetically. But sometimes it can be really hard to know what's going on with us physically. There is so much wellness content and information and misinformation out there that it can be really easy to be led astray. And that is why it is so important when you're taking any wellness advice to actually know what's going on with your body. Recently, I felt the same where I thought, I am probably due for some blood work. I'm due to just really get my levels checked and to understand what's going on. And that is why I recently joined Function Health. I chose Function because it's the only health platform that gives you access to the data that most people never see and the insights to actually take action. Inside Function, you can test for over 160 biomarkers, from heart health to testing your hormone levels to understanding your toxin level. You can also test for inflammation and for stress so that you can really give your body what it needs. Through Function, you can also access things like MRI scans, CT scans, all tracked in one secure place over time. It's an enhanced view of what's happening in your body. That's why top health leaders like Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Mark Hyman, and Dr. Jeremy London are all behind Function Health. What really drew me to Function was the importance of really understanding what was happening inside of my body, not just guessing. I really feel informed and empowered to make the best choices for me, but I need data to be able to do that. So I'm in the early stage right now where I've signed up and I've booked my first lab visit, and I'm excited to learn what's going on in my body. The sign up process was super straightforward. It was really easy to find a lab in my area because they have over 2,000 locations. So you're not stuck trying to find something across town. Now, I recently turned a little older, and so I've been thinking a lot about my energy levels lately. And I really want to make sure that as I age, as I move into my later 30s, I'm really giving my body what it needs to thrive and feel energized for all of the things I want to do. But that's why it's really important to understand the specifics of what's going on in our bodies. Because if we're feeling tired or if we're feeling run down, that can be so many different things. It's really important to be able to pinpoint exactly what's happening. Is there a vitamin deficiency? Do we have a hormone imbalance? What hormones are out of balance? That's the important data that we really need. And that is what I'm looking forward to getting insight into with Function Health. I also love that Function doesn't push supplements or protocols on you. It's truly data and insights that you can use to make the most informed decisions for your health. So you're not being sold on anything, and that really gives me a peace of mind. It's also super affordable compared to how much that testing would cost if done individually. A Function membership is $499 a year, which comes out to about $1.37 a day. But if you were to get all of the tests that Function offers you individually, it would cost over $10,000. Another thing that really stood out to me is that Function tracks your test results over time. So you're able to have a record of your health and of the progression of your health. So even if you're feeling okay now, it gives you a baseline and you're able to track patterns and changes over time. This is especially important if you're someone who is proactive about their health. And a Function membership isn't just for one type of person. It's for all ages, genders, and health journeys. So whether you're training for something, recovering from something, or you just want to feel your best long term, it gives you a clear, science-backed starting point. You can learn more and join by visiting my link in the show notes or description. The first 1,000 people get a $100 credit towards their membership. You can visit functionhealth.com/lucky, or you can use the code LUCKY100 to sign up for Function Health. If you've been curious about taking care of your health in a way that feels more empowering and personalized, I really think this would be a great place to start. Again, you can go to functionhealth.com/lucky, or you can use the code LUCKY100 to get a $100 credit towards your Function Health membership. I'm always a little skeptical when it comes to products that claim to help with hair growth and health, but when I started taking Nutrafol last year, I knew it was the real deal. I've always dealt with a lot of hair shedding, which is why I started taking Nutrafol Women's Balance last year. And especially during the summer months when I have tight braids, I'm in the sun and the water all the time and dealing with the stress of travel, my hair needs extra support. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. You can feel good about putting it in your body. It's backed by peer-reviewed studies and NSF Contents certified, which is basically the gold standard for supplements. And they don't just test ingredients, they test the full formula to make sure it actually works. Things like hair counts, texture, and shedding. The science is solid. It fits into my routine really easily. No prescription needed, and I love that the subscription comes with free shipping, one-on-one naturopathic doctor consults, and even a Headspace meditation membership. It's all about supporting your hair journey in a holistic way. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month's subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code BALANCEDLESS. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code BALANCEDLESS. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code BALANCEDLESS. When I think about this idea of things being effortless or people kind of being judgy of when others are seen trying, I almost feel like it's like propaganda. It just feels like this judgmental thing where if something doesn't come to you naturally and immediately, that you should be shamed for it in some ways.
Yeah, for sure. I also think that, it has been in the past in my nature to shy away from things that I'm like not immediately good at. I don't know if that's because I'm a Nigerian American or if I'm a Capricorn. I don't know where it's
Contributing factors, probably.
both, probably. I don't know if that's where it's coming from, but it is sort of the thing where when I think about running, again, not to bring it back, but it's a thing that you have to try out, and the more you do it, the better, quote unquote, or the easier it is for you. And so putting in effort I've found that putting an effort into things is good and like is useful, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I had posted this video on TikTok, I think maybe about a week ago, where I was talking about one of the many reasons why I love Beyonce, because I talk about Beyonce all the time,
Of
but
course.
she
Love.
is trying personified. I mean,
Yes.
her work ethic, and not to say that everybody needs to have a work ethic like Beyonce's, because sometimes she can be a little extreme with her work ethic. But she is who she is because of how much she rehearses and practices and experiments and tries. And I appreciate how forthcoming she has always been about that. Like she, if you ever watch her documentaries or her behind the scenes things, she's never acting like those performances are effortless.
No, and I think that, I interviewed Miss Tina Knowles recently, or last year I interviewed her, and we were talking about Sacred, the hair care line, and she said that, Beyonce made them go back and like reformulate things and was like, I think we can do this better, and was pushing her mom to do better, And I think that that just speaks to her work ethic, of course. I also think it speaks to sort of her unwillingness to not settle, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. On Nice Talk, has there been a moment you've had so far with the show or a conversation that has changed your perspective in some way? And what was that?
Oh, 100%. When I interviewed Lena Waithe, who's incredible, I was talking to her about imposter syndrome, and I had just like offhandedly said something about, people feel like the imposter syndrome, whatever, they should have it. And she was like, oh, I don't have imposter syndrome. I was like, what? And she was like, no, I don't have it. And I was like, no, you have to tell me more about that though. Like, why don't you have imposter syndrome? And she was like, I go into these rooms and I think about what is additive to me. I know that I should be in that room. I'm invited in that room for a reason. I'm paraphrasing here, but if essentially she was like, I'm in this room for a reason. What is this room giving to me? And that really switched the way I think about myself when I enter into a room and I feel like, oh, how did I get here? Or maybe I shouldn't have been here. Like, I was invited, right? I was invited to this table. And so if I am invited, that's when imposter syndrome sort of needs to go out the window. Like, if you've prepped, you're prepared, you have had that like little dash of luck that got you to this position, like, why do you have imposter syndrome? Of course you should be there. It's that simple. I know. And in talking to her, I was like, oh, okay. It also gave me the permission, and I hope it gave the listeners the permission to not feel like they had to have it. Because I do think that that is something that a lot of women struggle with is if you don't have imposter syndrome, then you're arrogant. And that's not fair. That is another way that we're really set up for failure. If you don't have imposter syndrome, that just means that you're confident in your position and in your abilities, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That you're confident and that you can see the spaces that you're in clearly.
Right, and what you can add to those spaces.
Yeah, yeah. And even going back to what Lena said, that what can I get from the room? Is that what she said? Or what can the
Sure,
room
it's
do
like
for me?
what can the room, like, how can this room be additive to my experience, essentially?
That just altered my brain chemistry when you were describing it.
Yeah, it totally does. Like, and she said it so simply. I like really encourage everyone to go listen to this episode because she said it so simply and offhandedly, but that was a real light bulb moment for me. I was like, oh, whoa. Like, yeah, brain chemistry altered.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even in feeling better, maybe asking questions and being okay not knowing all of the answers.
Right.
And being willing to learn.
Yes.
That's okay.
And that's okay. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to show up and be like, I don't know, but I'm willing to figure it out. And maybe you could help me and we can talk about this. We can discuss this. Like, all of that stuff, I think just feels, it just sort of like strips down that barrier of like, I have to show up perfectly. I have to show up without flaws.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I really appreciate that sentiment. Imposter syndrome is one of those terms that over the past few years I've kind of wrestled with as well, in the sense that, I'm not saying I've never experienced it, but that like, who's to say that anyone is an imposter in any space that we're in?
Isn't that interesting as well? Like, it just feels like a conversation, I guess, that happens a lot in women's media and in women's spaces. But when I worked at GQ, like none of those men had imposter syndrome. All of them were very sure that they should be in that room and that they were good at their jobs. And they worked at GQ, and GQ is amazing. And I was like, yes, I also work at GQ, and GQ is amazing. And why don't I have that air about me? There was just an air of confidence that sort of permeated all of the GQ spaces, which I really, really appreciated, having never worked with like that many men in my life, really,
Yeah,
before that
definitely.
or after that.
Yeah. That's funny. But I think there's also so much to when we are even working with people or spending time around people who are different than us, being like, what can I observe? What can I learn?
Oh, yeah. Working at GQ was such a crash course in confidence for me, and in like really being at the top of your game and knowing it and having that confidence, like being able to watch people like Will Welch or Mobilaji Dawodu, who's the fashion director at the time, Mark Anthony Green, who worked very closely with Will, is now an incredible director. He just had his first movie come out with A24. Being able to work with those guys for even just a year and some change was really transformative for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Are there any other takeaways that you still carry with you from that time?
Um, it was mostly just like the confidence and knowing that you are good at your job and you have like swag, or you have it. You have that X factor, and like there's a reason why they just really took pride in their work, and they took pride in the fact that they worked at GQ. Like that meant something to them, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, definitely. And also not having to minimize it or downplay when you have that confidence.
Yeah.
Something that I've been wrapping my head around a lot, and I'm probably going to do an episode around this later, is really beginning to dismantle self-deprecation
Yes.
and why we use it so much as a crutch.
And who you use it for.
Yeah. And really unpacking that. And
Who
being
is
like,
that serving?
who is it serving? Who is it benefiting? It's not benefiting the person who's doing it.
No. I mean, I've had many conversations with my boyfriend over the last couple of weeks. Just in he's sort of like, you know what? I don't want to make people feel comfortable. I'm okay with making the room feel uncomfortable a little bit. If I don't like what people are saying about certain groups, or if I don't agree with certain political affiliations, like I'm not going to do it just to make people comfortable. Why would I do that? Like, what they think is not okay. And so why am I bending over backwards to change myself just because I want to make that person comfortable? I was like, oh, this is a straight man telling me this. I need to adopt some of this, you know? It's like, it really is sometimes that like straight guy energy. When you have that around you, you start sort of like reassessing the way that you as a woman behave in these spaces.
Yeah. And how much energy we spend doing those things. That
It's
could be better spent
exhausting.
elsewhere.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It definitely is. So I also would love to talk to you a bit about style.
Yeah.
We touched on this a little bit with the effortless conversation, because I think that effortless is a word that is often associated with style a lot. I also think over the past, I don't know, maybe couple years, we've seen kind of a swing towards people being a little bit more minimalistic, that I think will probably pendulums go back and forth. I'm sure we'll see a pendulum kind of swing the other way. But can we talk more about effortlessness and how it relates to style and pick that apart a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think New York is a very interesting place, I would say, to discover your style, because there are so many different like tribes of people who live here. Like you can, hang out downtown and you can see like very specifically, oh, that person, as we know, is like a West Village girl. They like West Village girls. New York Magazine did it well. Like they all dress this way. East Village girls or Lower East Side girls dress this way. Upper East Side, based on neighborhood. I always say, and I think that like finding your style in New York is a little bit like moving into a house. Like that sort of advice that people give, where it's like live in the house for a little bit. Don't buy all your furniture at once. I think that that is a way that people should approach their style wherever they are. So live in that place. Consider what your actual life is going to be like in that place. So if you live far away from the train, as I did when I first moved to New York, what's the shoe that you're wearing when you're walking to and from the train? Like, what is the bag that you're carrying? Is that going to fit a change of shoes if you have to change into heels when you're going to work later? All of those things, especially living in New York, it's like such a, like your wardrobe has to be so practical. And I don't think that effortlessness necessarily dovetails with practicality. Like sometimes you do have to like put some thought and energy into figuring it out. So then the rest of your life doesn't feel so like complicated and fraught.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like the way that I think about clothes and style has shifted so much since I've moved to New York, very much for that point. Yes, New York is a very fashionable city, so it's made me be a lot more conscious of that compared to other cities that I've lived in, like LA and Seattle, where it's not, I mean, especially Seattle, where maybe not as at the forefront of people's minds, but just the sheer practicality of you're probably going to leave the house and not be back until nighttime. So do you have everything that you need?
Right. Your bag is your car.
It is. Are you ready to walk, however far? And you're kind of bouncing from event to event. So do you have that utility of, do you look like you could be at any
Or
of those
do you want to
spaces?
be able to bounce from event to event? Do you
Mhm.
want to be able to like see where the night takes you? If that's the case, then I don't know that a Manolo and a 105 millimeter is going to help you, right? Like you may need like a lower heel or a cute sneaker to let the city take you wherever it wants to.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it, part of that is also why I struggle a little bit with this idea of constantly needing inspiration from the internet about
Oh,
how to dress
get
and how
off
to
the
style.
internet. Get off the internet.
Yeah.
I think that, like, listen, I love Alison Bornstein. I think her 3-word method is invaluable. And
Mhm.
I think it's invaluable because she is asking you to really look at your closet and really look at yourself and say, and do a bit of the like work that we talk about, right? Where it's sort of like, what's my life going to be like? What do I want? Where is this day going to take me? What does my general schedule look like? When I'm not doing that, what do I want some like flair to look like, right? I think what's happening right now when we look at social media is it's just some completely like flattened things to an extent. So we used to have like Scandi girl style, Scandinavian girl style, or French girl style, American girl style, and now it's all just one like weird amalgamation, and that takes out the fun, that takes out the personality. Um, and so I always say like, get off again, touch grass, get off the internet, go people watch. New York has some of the best people watching in the world. Find inspiration on the street. It's interesting. So my past newsletter that I wrote a week ago was about how to wear all black without looking boring, because I saw so many women looking so fab, but they were wearing head to toe black. I was like, okay, that's great. I wouldn't have come up with that had I been in TikTok and people were talking about like frazzled old lady core, right? Like that's not
Yeah.
that's not what I think people really need right now. Like they need practical dressing advice. And I found that from just like looking up and seeing all the stylish women around me.
Yeah, like letting style be this living, breathing thing that
Yeah.
moves with you
Yeah.
as opposed to,
And changes.
yeah,
And
this
that's
this
okay.
little kind of box that you're trying to fill
Totally.
or check.
Yeah.
Um, I also feel that so much with like link culture. And I even say this as somebody
Link
who
culture.
generates like affiliate links and
Oh.
constantly linking things.
Yeah.
And even as somebody who, I use affiliate links, I buy from people's links, people buy from mine,
Mhm.
and I so get it. But just this thought that everything that we have to wear has to be perfectly linkable and
Oh.
ready for someone to like
Yeah.
copy paste.
It is rare that anyone will see me in an outfit that in a head to toe outfit that they could buy in season. Like I have clothes for years
Yeah.
and years and years and years. I buy a lot on the Real. So that stuff's just not available anymore. It's
Mhm.
one of one, right? But because I've lived in New York and I've thought about my style and I have again this lived experience here, then I don't need to necessarily copy and paste from somebody, or I don't need an exact link. Like sometimes I am like, no, I actually really want that necklace, but more so it's like I want a necklace that gives me that kind of vibe. So could you tell me, a couple brands who offer that, and then I can get in there and figure it out myself.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that comes with time,
For
honestly.
sure. Something that I've also started asking myself is if I see something that I really like that someone is wearing, whether it's a piece or an outfit, I'll challenge myself to be like, what is it about that you like? Is it the
Yes.
cut? Is it the color? Is it the fabric?
Mhm.
And then how can you either kind of do your own version of that with either something you already have,
Mhm.
ideally,
Mhm.
or make it your own in some way as opposed to needing to copy paste exactly what someone else is doing.
I think that's really smart because a lot of the things that I see on people, like they don't necessarily have my body type, they don't necessarily have my skin coloring. And so it is that sort of, do I like the aura that this girl is giving off? Do I like the vibe that she's giving off? Or do I want those exact jeans or those exact shorts? And if those shorts don't look on me the way they look on her, am I going to have a meltdown? Am I going to like have a proper meltdown, or am I just sort of looking for something that sort of like approximates what she's going for? And then how can I, put my own sort of like sazon on it? Like, how can I figure this out for myself? I think that's the best way to do style.
Yeah, it's what adds kind of your special sauce, and
Yeah.
also has that bit of self-expression that I think I'm nervous that, a lot of people are veering away from that. And I think that that's an important part of the equation.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree.
Yeah. Okay. So before we wrap up, one more thing that I also really want to ask you about is your 2025 ins and outs, which I remember from the top of the year. You're acclaimed, highly anticipated ins and outs. We're about halfway through the year. I have them pulled up.
Yes.
Let me pull them back up.
I know one I haven't done well, and it like makes me so sad.
Okay, well, let's get into it. Wait, I'm pulling it back up now. The spa. Let's talk about the spa.
Spa is in. I just haven't been able to go to the spa as much as I would like, but I need to get into it more because it really does help.
Yeah. So you're going to prioritize that in H2.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So for those of y'all, and I'll make sure this is linked in the show notes as well, Nikki's 2025 ins and outs. So ins, we have power lunches, skepticism, critical thinking, mini teenies, flexibility, water before coffee, changing your mind, mobility, spa, as we just discussed, taking it to the group chat, minding your business, being basic, good way, and once in a lifetime opportunities.
All incredible. All I still wholeheartedly believe in. I abide by them, especially taking it to the group chat and critical thinking. Please, critical thinking, girl summer, more of that.
Yes, absolutely. Related to what we were talking about earlier with media, I also think that media literacy is a really important part of critical thinking. And it's something that I'm a little nervous. I'm just nervous that, it's a skill that, that we're losing.
Yeah, we got to open up the schools. Kids are being left behind. Yeah, like media literacy is real. And I am afraid that like people are not being taught it. And it's really tough because there's so much media. To circle back to what you were saying, everyone is calling themselves a journalist, or everyone is calling themselves, an authority on something. And there is just so much floating around that discerning, like learning how to discern what is fact versus fiction, what is AI versus like a properly vetted source is really important, is only going to continue to be more and more important.
Yeah, yeah. How do you recommend people strengthen those media literacy skills if it's something they haven't thought about?
Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, I think that again, it's sort of double checking sources, like not taking everything as fact that comes through social media or TikTok, really or TikTok or Instagram, really considering where this information is coming from. When I talk about sources, I mean, is this a biased source? Is this somebody who has skin in this game and it would be in their best interest if they told a story like this? I think it comes to sort of looking back on past stories, looking back on past things that have been either this person or this organization has said, and how does that sort of like, align with what they're saying now? And really looking at a bunch of different sources.
Yeah. Yeah. So important.
Mhm.
So important. And then we have the outs.
Mhm.
Some of these really make me laugh, including this first one, pretending to like caviar.
Ugh, gross. I freed myself. I freed myself from that this year, and I feel just so like I love it. Because the fashion industry, the fashion industry loves caviar, and it's always like, oh, the caviar on the potato, or the chips and caviar and creme fraiche, and just being like, nah, I don't like that. Feels very like I took my power back.
Yeah. There's also a lot of places. I mean, caviar, I think it's okay. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. There's also some places where I'm like, why are we putting caviar here? Do I need a caviar tater tot?
Do I need a caviar in my martini?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And and there is a bit of that sort of like, just saying like, I don't like that, right? Like outwardly being like, I don't like that. And people being like, what? And I'm just like, I don't.
Okay.
And so I'm not going to have it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Quiet luxury, the phrase.
Ugh. Let's get loud, right? Like, it just feels like something that people have been saying and they don't really know why they're saying. It feels slightly racial as well, and I can't really pin my finger on why it feels that way, but it feels very coded, and I'm just, like, kind of over it. And I dress in, like, a fairly minimalistic way. I generally don't wear a ton of prints. There was just something about quiet luxury that just started to feel, like, kinda nefarious to me, like the term.
Mhm.
I love Loro Piana. I love Brunello Cucinelli. That is technically quiet luxury, but, like, the term felt I don't know, it started to feel iffy to me.
I agree. It
Yeah.
does feel very coded. It feels very anti
Mhm.
things that I I don't think need a counterculture. It's just is like a difference of preference.
Exactly.
Yeah. Work breakfast.
It's too early. I live in Brooklyn. It's too early. Like, getting into Manhattan by, like, 8:30? Yikes. I need to work out in the morning. Let's do a lunch.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. Dupes and dupe culture.
Out forever. Out forever. I think that dupe culture, it really just, A, watered down personal style because it led to that copy and pasting. It also just sort of it's bad. It's, like, really bad for the environment, and I don't think that jelly sandal should be $10. I don't think those jeans should be $10, and I don't know if where you're buying them from is the best place for the environment or for the people who work there. So, the ease with which people can get dupes, like, scares me about it scares me. I think it's, like, frankly not good.
Yeah. I felt like the Walmart Birkin was a really spooky time. I also say this as somebody who's not particularly interested in Birkins, but like that wave of the internet for that 2-week span.
Well, it just begs the question sort of like, why do you want a Birkin? I work in fashion. I've worked in fashion for 20 years, and I don't have a Birkin, and I don't want a Birkin badly enough that I would buy a fake one, but, like, what are you trying to say with this Birkin? What are you trying to signal? And I know that people probably think I'm being, like, esoteric and crazy and, like, "Oh, it's not that deep," but, like, I think it is kind of that deep if you take a second to think about it.
Yeah, it is. It's just good questions to ask
Mhm.
yourself. What is it that having this dupe, this thing, what do I think this is going to do for me?
Yeah, what are you trying to signal? Who are you
Mhm.
trying to prove something to? Is it
Mhm.
yourself? If so, what are you trying to prove to yourself? If it's to others, what are you trying to prove to them? And why are you trying to prove something to others? Like, just something to think about.
Yep, food for thought. Uh I think these two feel a little bit related to me, rigidity and beige tyranny.
Ugh, the tyranny of beige. You know, it is the same. Tyranny of beige comes more so with like your interiors.
Mhm.
There was a period of time where everything had to be beige, light beige, brown, camel. And that's just not fun. Like, where's the personality? And then again with rigidity, I think it's the same, like, flexibility for me in the ends was me trying to figure out how to be more flexible in my life, but then also, like, literally mobility, like, start stretching, you need to stretch. And so, physically and also, like, stretch emotionally, personal like, like, personality-wise, that sort of thing. And so when I think about rigidity and beige tyranny, it feels of the same ilk.
Mhm. Absolutely. Connected.
Mhm.
This one I can really get behind, early morning scrolling.
Yikes. I gotta say, I haven't been too good at that one. It's early morning scrolling. I was in a bad way last week too when, like, the media, the news cycle was just, like, hell, right? And you wake up in the morning and you read one thing, and it just ruins your entire day, and so I really started over this last week and this week, I'm like, "Okay, let's return to reading books in the morning." Like, let's get back to I'm reading The Guest right now by Emma Cline. I know the book came out, like, a long time ago, but it was on my bookshelf. I'm like, "You've wanted to read this book, like, do this in the morning. Read for 20 minutes, like, retrain your attention span again, and, like, cut the early morning scrolling to an extent."
Yeah, it just helps anxiety so much to not start your
1000%.
day with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I also earlier, maybe about a month or 2 ago, I was going through a little bit of a phase where I was waking up and scrolling first thing, and I also had to be like, "Mm."
You got to check yourself. And for me as well, and I'm sure for you, like you can justify it and be like, it's work. I have to know what's going on, but like, do I have to know what's going on at 6 a.m. or can I wait until 8 a.m.? Like, give yourself a little bit of breathing time, do your stretches, work on your flexibility, drink your water before your coffee so you don't like, you know, jack up your anxiety again, like all the things that you can do, and then hop on your phone and scroll for a little bit.
Exactly. Okay, this next one, I have heard you talk about this, capsule wardrobes. About why.
Is this going to bite me in the ass? I don't know. Okay, so here's my thoughts on capsule wardrobes. Again, it sort of dovetails and is sort of the same thing around quiet luxury, personal style. There are these phrases that have become so fraught and overwrought in like internet culture. And capsule wardrobe, to me, is one of them, where people are like, if I don't have a capsule wardrobe, then I don't have style. Or if I don't have a capsule wardrobe, then my wardrobe is shit. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Capsule wardrobes are supposed to make your life easier. I don't think they should be prescriptive. And as they function right now, they feel a little too prescriptive to me. So when I read a story about a capsule wardrobe, it's always like a striped tee, a trench coat,
The button down.
yeah, a button down, all of these things. But it's like, what if that's not your life? Then what do? Then you have like a pencil skirt and a button down and all these things that don't fit. And that's not your capsule wardrobe. So the way I operate is more like, you know, a dress that makes you feel like $1 million no matter how you, like what you put when you're wearing it, right? Things that are more based on vibe and the feeling it gives you rather than the particular piece itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that also lends itself so much more to the creativity piece that we were talking about earlier, where it is that self-expression instead of feeling like it's a box that you're checking.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Or a box that you're like putting yourself in.
Yeah, exactly. Obsessing over finding personal style.
Well, there it is.
Similarly, yep.
Yeah, you can't, like, personal style will find you. You don't have to find personal style. It'll find you.
I love that. That's similar to what you were saying about style being like moving into a house. Like you let your life kind of live in it and breathe in it.
Yeah, and to what you were saying is that it is something that can change and is sort of like a living, breathing organism, and that's the exciting part of style.
Yeah, exactly. Oversharing on the internet.
Let's cut it out, guys. Let's not do that anymore. Take it to the group chat. Take it to the group chat. Get off X. Get off of all of the things. Stop yelling on the internet. Take it to the group chat.
100%. Micro trend culture.
Oh, yes. That was a big thing last year, I would say. And I can't remember what core it was, but it just like really sent me over the edge. And I was like, enough is enough. Like, we have to stop naming things. We have to stop. It just felt like all of the cores were really contributing to overconsumption in a way that just felt untenable to me, especially as somebody who's worked in this industry for so long. And it's like, okay, guys, like knock it off.
Yeah.
And it seems like that doesn't really happen that much anymore.
Yeah,
like that's kind of gone. That's kind of gone away, right?
Yeah, not as namey this year, for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And then the last one, being basic, bad way.
Yeah.
The difference.
I think being basic in a bad way is the sort of like, I don't know. Well, let's say being basic in a good way. I think being basic in a good way is the stuff that is like brings you joy and like wholeheartedly leaning into that. So like some people may say like doing Pilates and getting a matcha is like basic. I don't know. That makes me really happy. So I'm going to do those things. Like, and I think that like ignoring that or shying away from that or being a hater on that sort of stuff is being basic in a bad way. Like you think that you are cooler than me because like I like to do Pilates, like buzz off. That's not true.
Yeah, exactly. About the feeling.
Yes,
as opposed to
exactly.
the perception.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Nikki, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me. This was great.
Please let the girls know where they can keep in touch with you and when new episodes of Nice Talk come out.
For sure. So Nice Talk is anywhere you get your podcasts, and they come out on Thursdays. And you can find me at Nikki Ogun on all social media platforms, and you can read Marie Claire at marieclaire.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.